Welcome to our second webisode about the Wedding Flower Style Book from John Henry. We'll be teaching you how to create bewitching bridal bouquets. It's no trick at all once you know the secrets from JTV. You start with the prettiest roses on the planet and a few great mechanics. Soon, you'll be turning heads in no time at all. Today's project is one of the gorgeous bouquets from the new John Henry Wedding Flower Style Book. It's interesting because we've also included in our style pages inside the book different references to different shapes. We've got the cascade bouquet, we show how to use a composite flower, we've got a clutch bouquet, all the different styles that are available. For today's project, we're going to recreate this wonderful pink and orange bouquet, a bridesmaid's bouquet that's marvelous and ravishing. We've got the whole wedding in one spread. We can see a church decoration, reception, flowers to wear, a pew decoration, and also a bridal bouquet. We'll work on this colorful one now. We'll create today's project inside a bouquet holder. This is the Grande bouquet holder from Oasis. I need something to make this stand up so that I can work on it a little bit easier. That's where a block of floral foam comes in handy. We'll use that to hold it in place while we create it. There's two sizes of the wedding bouquet holders. This is the Grande, this is a smaller size. It depends upon the size of the arrangement you're going to create as to which bouquet holder you'll select. That's where you make the creative decision here at JTV. We want to make one that's a little bit larger and has a few more flowers in it. So I want more foam and more area to add those flowers. We're using gorgeous Eufloria roses, a combination of orange and pink. Those are analogous colors. They're next to one another on the color wheel. Pink is a form of red. It's been diluted by white, and orange is next to red on the color wheel. Two colors side by side, they're friends. It's like the neighbor next door. That's the impression we get from using analogous colors. The first thing that we'll do is start by adding some of the chenille roses. I want to make sure that I cut this relatively short and place it right down on top of the foam itself. You can see that there's no room between that rose head and the surface of the foam. It allows me to cover a large portion of that bouquet holder, and I don't need to fill that in with greens. You'll also notice I don't start with greenery because I want my flowers to be the focal point in my gorgeous bridal bouquets. We'll use a second chenille rose next to that one and layer it over the top. It's a design technique we call reinforcement because we've used those two roses together to reinforce that color statement. We'll add another one on the other side. We'll also add some of the Sweet Moments roses. I really like including these in bridal bouquets because they're such a great fragrance. Everyone gets such a great memory from the smell of real beautiful roses. Use that same technique on this side and drop it right down onto the surface of the foam. And reinforce it with another rose. I'm also going to bring in some ordinary carnations right now. Because I like the vibrant pink color and it's inexpensive, I can place that down into the center to create depth in my bouquet and also cover up more of the exposed foam. It's a great inexpensive way for me to transfer color down inside there that isn't a premium rose. Carnations have such great color and they're so durable. That makes them a workhorse for us when we're designing. We'll spot these around the bouquet, using them on all sides down deep. We also have design ports on the back side of our bouquet holder. Those design ports allow us to make flower placements towards the bottom of the bouquet. That way we get something a little more round rather than something that would be very flat. I like the fact that my floral foam underneath here too catches my excess moisture as it's dripping out of the bouquet holder. That's normal because as we're placing those stems in there, we displace some water and it leaks out. After about 20 minutes, there will be no more dripping from the bouquet holder, so you don't have to worry about it during the wedding. Now we have Milva roses. I'm going to add one towards the top. Look at how great that looks, contrasting against those pink Sinai roses. We're also using Naranga, which is a really intense color. It's better to use that going over the top of our lighter pink roses. We use another Naranga on the other side and in a design port facing out towards the bottom of the bouquet. We use a Milva on the other side the same way. We want to make sure that the stems of our roses go deep into the center of the bouquet holder so there's plenty of foam gripping the stems. Now it's simply down to the point where I'm just going to fill in with the rest of my flowers. Roses are extremely popular for weddings, so we want to see a lot of them, and we want to kind of shield that great coloration of the hot pink carnations underneath with the rose form. I added that Sweet Moments rose right to the top center because I know when the bridesmaid picks up this bouquet, the very first thing she's going to do is bring it to her face to smell the flowers. And I want her to have that experience of smelling that divine fragrance. Now my colors I've used are analogous colors next to one another, but I want these colors to be just a little bit more vibrant. So I'm going to add a little bit of chartreuse green. What happens is by adding that acid green color, it makes the other colors with it bubble up. Acid green makes the other colors bubble up and makes them seem more intense. These hypericum berries are perfect because they have a different texture and they have that great chartreuse green coloration. I learned the secret of adding the chartreuse green to make the other colors bubble up from my friend Leatrice Eisman. She's the president of the Pantone Corporation and also the author of Colors for Your Every Mood. She's a color genius. I don't want the big leaves on the hypericum to cover up my flowers. So in some cases, I remove them so they can sneak out in between the roses. Just peeling those off the side makes the focus on the berries themselves, not the leaves. Also, using a couple little tiny ones, just like that, gives just a peek of that chartreuse green between these other flowers. Our bouquet is nearly finished, but we want to secure all of these flowers into the bouquet holder itself. That brings me to the JTV trick of the week. It's a product called Floralock. It has a little red straw included. It's plastic and it fits into the nozzle itself, just like a WD-40 can. Now here's where we talk about the secrets. First of all, it's fabricated by the Lomi Corporation. It's a spray adhesive that's suspended inside this can. So what we want to do is shake it for a minute to a minute and a half before we use it. We want to make sure that we hear that little ball rolling around inside. A minute or a minute and a half is a long period of time, but the reason we want to do that is so that all the adhesives and the emollients and the lubricants and the aerosols are mixed up thoroughly inside that can. If they're not mixed up inside that can, our adhesive can get lodged in the nozzle itself and we won't be able to get everything out of the can. So it's important to shake it. When that's thoroughly mixed, what we do is use this nozzle to guide it down to the surface of the foam. I feed it in between my flowers and I give short blasts above the foam surface itself. Now what's important, we don't put that into the foam itself. We also want to make sure that we stay back away and not bring our face down here. That adhesive could splash back and into our eyes, which means a trip to the emergency room where they use a special solvent to dissolve the adhesive that also removes your eyelashes. You don't believe me? I know firsthand. So, we want to be careful. We're going to cover the entire surface of our bouquet holder. Because the adhesive is heavier than water, it will soak into the foam and lock the stems in place. Get it? Floralock. Shaking while we go is always key too. When we're finished with this, you're going to notice that there's going to be a little bit of glue that gets on the end of this. It's almost like a booger. You leave it alone. I've heard of people picking it off or cutting it off or sticking a corsage pin in there or trying to clean it. Leave it just like that and set it aside. The next time that you're ready to use your Floralock, shake it really well, grab your scissors, and just cut off about a 1/4 inch of that nozzle. Then you'll be ready to use it again. If you remove that piece of glue, it's going to allow for this chamber to dry out and the glue to harden off inside there and inside your nozzle. It won't be a good thing, and you'll have to toss a part of the can that you haven't used yet. So, we're nearly finished with our bouquet. We have to cover up the design ports on the back side. There's several different things we could do. We could fill those design ports in with Gaelic leaves or another type of foliage. I want to use ribbon today to help cover that up. I've made 2 different types of bows that we can use. The first bow, this great one from Berwick, that's pink on one side and green on the other has been tied with a chenille stem. I cut the chenille stem short so that I could place it directly in to those design ports. Because there's floral lock already on that design port, I'm going to be able to have it stick and hold right there in that design port. The other thing I'm going to do to help cover up this stem is to use a product called a posi pocket. My friend Kathy Davenport, who owns Cameo MacGuffin, creates these incredible pieces. It's simply a cone that's been covered with fabric with a styrofoam insert. They make them in 2 sizes and they fit onto the stem itself. It depends upon which size you want. You can use either one. They make them in all sorts of different fabrics that look really great. It's interesting to see how that changes the look of the bouquet. Look at how a pink one looks on this as opposed to a peach sparkled one. Or maybe we want to use an orange raw silk. It changes the look of the bouquet and can match and coordinate with the dress. She's brilliant and these are inexpensive. If you want to know more about posi pockets, go to her website, www.cameomacguffin.com. One of her newest inventions is this one, and that's the one I want to use today. It's not a cone shape, it's more like a cylinder, and it has wonderful jewels that she put on the outside. We'll slip our stem down inside there. We could hot glue that in place if we wanted to, so that it wouldn't fall off. That's a great idea for us. Simply take a little bit of hot glue, apply it to the stem, and place this in there just before you're ready for delivery. In this case, I have another bow that I tied together by using a piece of ribbon. This way, I can use 2 ends of the ribbon and tie them above the posi pocket to help conceal the other half of the bouquet holder. So by taking the 2 ends and knotting them together over the top of the posi pocket itself. The posi pocket helps hold the ribbon in place and is a secure point for us to bind it on. Now we have a beautiful bouquet, but we're not quite finished. What's the last thing we always do at JTV? Crowning glory. Our clear crowning glory is sprayed over the entire bouquet. We want to make sure that we coat all of the product. It seals the molecular structure of the flowers themselves, preventing them from evaporating water. It's still going to allow our beautiful Sweet Moments roses to smell good, but it's going to make our flowers last 26% longer. Those are the secrets you learn here at JTV for making these superb wedding bouquets. This is what we learned today at JTV. We start with pretty flowers, the most beautiful roses on the planet. That's half the battle. If you have pretty flowers, you're already on your way to an incredible design. We use good mechanics. We secure all the stems. They're in there for a wild ride. You know what a wedding night is like. And stunning accessories. Choose your color palette wisely. It's the color selections that you create that personalize it and make the event fun. Next week, we break out the AIFD book of floral design and explore how to create a parallel systems floral design. You're gonna love it. I'd like to thank John Henry for creating this great resource, the Wedding Flower Style Book, and to Eufloria Flowers for growing the prettiest roses on the planet. So, what do you think, JTV Tiger? Do you want to catch the bouquet? Yeah, I thought so. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Here you go, buddy.